Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of For Unlawful Cinematic Knowledge, or FUCK. This is a podcast where we talk about movies that are a little cultish, a little underloved, or just, fan favorites, whatever. I am your host. My name is Kolleen Carney Hoepfner. I'm a contributing editor for Fangoria and a Southern California booth wrangler at some conventions around town. I'm the former EIC of Drunk Monkeys and the host of Twin Peaks Logcasting, I should say co-host, along with Chris Pruitt. Today, we have friend of Cinematic Void and Beyond Fest shirt-wrangler Michael Felix on the show. And when I came up with the idea for this podcast, which I admit is not very original, a podcast talking about weird movies in 2026, groundbreaking work, Colleen. The first person I thought of was my brother in Every Movie is a Miracle Arms, Michael Felix. Michael, thank you so much for being on the inaugural FUCK show.
It's my pleasure. I am so honored, and I was so looking forward to this all week. So thank you for having me on. I hope we have a good time here talking about this particular movie, which I'll let you jump in an intro, and we can jump in and talk after.
The movie that we are discussing today is the little known and underrated 1993 film Teenage Bonnie and Klepto Clyde. Just going to give a little information about the movie before we start talking about it. This is a 1993 film directed by John Shepherd, written by John Shepherd and Steve Jankowski. It is starring Maureen Flanagan of Out of This World fame and Scott Wolf, who went on to do Party of Five. And this is an interesting moment in both their careers because Out of This World was a big family show about a young girl named Evie who discovers she is half alien. She can freeze time. Her dad is Burt Reynolds. And Scott Wolf, this was right on the precipice of Party of Five starting, which was a very popular show.
Yeah, that surprised me. I always thought it was like the sidebar to Party of Five, like, oh, this is what he's doing on breaks from it. But no, it was predates it. So this was like his first major role. He was like a guest star, and so yeah, it's quite the feather in the cap to start your career with this.
It actually surprised me too, because in my brain I remember it wrong, and I remember Party of Five already being a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went back to do a little bit of research, this and that, I was like, oh, I didn't realize that. This was one of 9 movies to win an appeal against an NC-17 rating without having to cut anything. So that's a little interesting tidbit that I was unaware of before I went on some sort of teenage Bonnie and Klepto Clyde psychosis a couple years ago and began talking about it, because I realized that no one knows this movie. Like, I was just at Monsterpalooza and I was pitching this movie to the guy who runs Severin. I'm good friends with Ethan from Severin, and he was like, the main dude's gonna be here. And I was like, I'm gonna shoot my shot. And I was like, listen, hear me out.
David's like the nicest person, by the way.
Nice.
He's the best. He's so gracious, like listening to people like us.
He listened to me.
Yeah.
He listened to me about this, and he was like, I've never heard of that movie. And I was like, well, hear me out. Get the rights. I'll do all of the extras for free. And I will at least one person will buy it, and that will be me. And he was like, okay.
2 people will buy it for sure.
You can
2
watch
people
it on
will
YouTube.
buy it. Yeah.
The movie, it's funny because looking into it, it's obviously a reimagining of Bonnie and Clyde. It's right there in the title. And looking into it, I realized there's not really a lot of information. There's no like extensive Wikipedia that gives all these juicy details. There's barely any IMDb trivia. There's not even a soundtrack listing. It was filmed in August of 1992 in Salt Lake City, Utah. And that's pretty much all there is to know about it.
It was produced on the credits. It was produced by 21st Century Film, which was one of the offshoots of Canon. It's Menachem Golan is listed as executive producer. So And I think it was that company. I'm sure was on the verge of going out of business around that time. So I think Trimark has
Yes.
picked up the rights and put
Yes.
it on tape and got it into cable, and which is where I saw it.
Right. And
Yeah.
yeah, and we're going to talk about that, the origin story in one second, 'cause that is, of course, where I saw it too. But I do like that this was released on home video on my birthday in 1993, December
Oh,
15th. I feel like that is very like magical for me. Um, it was released in theaters in August of 93, a very kind of limited run, did not probably do very well. So, I have a feeling this show is going to talk a lot about Canon films and like Globus films and Kolleen films.
well, legendary for a reason.
Yeah, for
Yes, it
for the best
shaped
reason.
shaped our young lives.
If I ever finish the logo for this show but for like the profile pic on Instagram, you will see why that's you'll see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so tell me how you stumbled upon this movie, because again, this is one of those like cable movies. I lament constantly the lack of being able to flip through and just stumble on some weird movie that imprints on your psyche. Like kids don't have that these days. Tell me how you first saw this movie.
Yeah. So the title, of course, is more memorable than anything else. So I think the title stuck out to me. But I remember. I'm a latchkey kid. I grew up with unfettered access to cable and not much parental supervision. So I want to say I probably saw this in high school, like 96, 97, late night, either like a Showtime or a Cinemax. And it just, you're up already. You've already watched, one or two other movies that night. And this thing starts, and you're like, well, let me see where this goes. And having said that, I think after that screening, after seeing it and having that title seared in my brain, and the ending, of course, which I'm sure we'll discuss a little
Yes,
more.
yeah. That
Uh,
ending.
the ending does not pull punches,
No.
so the tone of the movie is very light and fun for a take on this material, with a little bit of satire, a little bit of social comment, and then yeah, the ending does not mess around. And so it seared itself on my brain then, and then I memory hold it for 30 years. I Until you and I had some exchange about it, and I can't even find that exchange anymore, either on Blue Sky or Twitter, or maybe it was Instagram. But you and I, both hit upon the fact that we knew what this movie
Right.
was. Yeah, and you're the number one fan. I'll slot in somewhere after you. But rewatching it for prepping for this podcast, I'm like, I forgot most of this movie other than the ending.
You know what? I thought the same thing. I forgot a lot of it, but there's certain scenes, and we'll get into it, where I was like, oh my God, that like unlocked something. Like I remember this scene and think about this scene out of context a lot and never like realized that it was from this movie. But
Yeah, so it was wonderful. It was like watching it again for the first time,
yeah,
or like, and it's due in part to the fact that like you've talked about in the intro. It's there's no Blu-ray. It skipped a generation of media. It
yeah,
skipped a couple
yeah,
generations
there's
of
no DVD of
audience.
it.
No, there was never even a DVD.
Yeah.
And then for me, it's also kind of twinned in my memory with the Stoned Age. I know it has basically nothing to do with the Stoned Age, but those were both Trimark titles that just got a lot of cable play back in the day. And, it would just show up at like, 11 o'clock at night on Showtime or Cinemax. And so I feel like I watched both of those movies kind of together for the first time in probably like 96 or 97.
Do you mean the Stoned Age?
Yes,
1994.
the
I've
Stoned
never
Age.
seen this. I'm
Oh,
looking at
you've
it right
never seen
now.
the Stoned Age? Okay, well that'll be
No.
another
Okay.
sidebar, or maybe that's a
That'll be a
future.
future show.
Yeah, that
Well,
could be a
I'll
future
watch
show.
it. Yeah,
But
because
the
I'm
Stoned Age is, it's like the B
available on
movie.
Tubi.
Yeah, I think. Well, they just put out a Blu-ray of it, so maybe there's hope for Teenage Bonnie at some point. But it's like the B movie to Dazed and Confused.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's right
yeah,
up my alley.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I've been telling people as I've been approaching them for this show, I'm like, you can suggest a movie and I'll watch it. Like I don't have to like this movie. Like I don't even have to have ever heard of it. Like we can watch it and we can talk about what worked or what didn't. But this is going on the list because this seems like a movie that it's shocking that it passed me by, this Stoned Age movie, because it's like
Oh, yeah, yeah,
drugs, okay. So, but
yeah.
for
But please, share with me your experience with our beloved teenage Bonnie.
absolutely. So this movie is very married to natural born killers in my mind. And
Hmm.
this is why, and this is how I remember, and I will say with a caveat that I could be misremembering. It was so long ago now, but in my brain, I remember we grew up with black boxes. So we basically had every channel and we had like four of them in the house, right? There
Is
was
this
one in
like
the living room.
pirated cable?
Yes, it was like the chip in the box and it like gave you all of the channels, right? It's like the one thing my parents did that was like questionably, non-ethical or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
My parents are very good people, but they were like, we're good people who love movies. So we had these in our rooms, and it was very funny because my dad would be like, after 11, don't watch don't watch
Yeah,
the
there's
porn channels, basically. And it's like, well, that's obviously what I'm gonna do. But
yeah.
if I recall correctly, I was recording Natural Born Killers, right? And then I went to bed. So it was like on an 11 or something. And I just let the tape run. And this is what came after it. That's how I remember it. I could be wrong. I do know that this was recorded by accident. Like I did not set out to watch Teenage Bonnie and Klepto Clyde. And then watching the tape, it's like, oh, what's this? Okay. And that's very funny because this movie predates Natural Born Killers and in a weird way, like Natural Born Killers echoes a lot of it, which I think is interesting. But so then I watched it and I was like, oh wow, I love this movie. Very notable because I was a big Out of This World fan. I watched that growing up. Evie the alien, she can stop time. And she shows her boobs in this movie. So that
Couple times.
that made quite an impression on a young Colleen. And I was like, oh, that's great. So,
Did it
so
shock
this,
you? Did you feel scandalized when you saw it,
no,
or
no,
no?
I didn't feel, I was already scandalized by
Yeah,
then,
okay.
but I was young, but I was precocious is probably the word. And, um, but it was like, that was exciting because she's cute and, you grow up watching her and then you're like, oh my God, she's showing her boobs. That's
She's so
interesting.
charming in this.
She's really charming in this.
It makes
I
you sad that like she didn't get more of this type of role, you know?
One of the only trivia things on IMDb is like, after this movie, she got two types of fan mail. One was
Oh yeah.
from out of this world fans who were disappointed that she showed her breasts, and the other was from out of this world fans who were very excited that she showed her breasts, right? Like, and then that's it. Then she she didn't really do much afterwards, and that's sad because she's a good actress. She's great in this.
She's got
Um,
charisma. She's got presence.
She's
Like
very
it's
pretty. Like,
yeah.
she's in an ER episode. I've been rewatching ER because of the pit, and I'm like, oh look, it's Teenage Bonnie. But
What does she play in ER? What is she?
she's she's like a wife of a guy who keeps like having these bouts of aphasia, like he can't talk, and she's like, "Ugh, he's just faking because we're getting a divorce, and then it turns out he's like having a stroke or something. Like it's like an actual problem.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, oh, look who it is, Teenage Bonnie herself. But yeah, she didn't really like, and she wanted to have like more adult roles because she was sort of like, she grew up almost like a Disney kid, growing up as a child actor and wanted to be a little bit more like adult about stuff. And unfortunately, that didn't really like lead to anything. And I feel sad about that because I think she's great. She's great in
Yeah.
this.
And
So
their
that's
chemistry is good. Like
yeah, they're very
you believe
believable.
their love story.
Yeah, they're very believable as like a cute couple that like fell in love under like funny circumstances and then just like made a lot of wrong choices. So that's my origin story. So then it became sort of like a oh yeah, this movie. And then of course, like you, like, I'd go through long bouts of forgetting about it, but then it was always kind of in the back of my head. And then I would just bring it up randomly, and then it became kind of a bit also like how I love Clute. And I always just talk about Clute all the time.
Hmm.
But with this, it's like, oh, Teenage Bunny and Klepto Clyde. Like, there was a tweet that was like, what is a movie that no one has a poster on their wall? And I was like, Teenage Bunny and Klepto Clyde. And then in
And you have
November,
that you have
yeah,
that poster, right?
yeah, in November I went out, or December I went out shopping in Orange County with my friend Daniel. We go antiquing all the time, and it had become like we're gonna find this on VHS because it's rare and it goes for quite a bit of money. And I was like, we'll either find it for like $800 or we'll find it for like two. And we turned a corner at this one antique store, and I literally almost fell over. I was like, oh my God. And he was like, I've never seen someone react to something like that. And of course, I bought it, but then I had left it. It was just hanging there. And I had left it, and we were walking around, and I started getting paranoid that somebody else would take it. And he was like, because I
To
was like,
you,
with
it's a
my,
holy grail. To someone else, they're like, "What is this?"
but like, I was like, someone's gonna take it. And he was like, what the fuck are you talking? No one is taking that. That's probably been up there for 7 years. Like, and I got so paranoid about it that I went back and took it and just carried it around with me. And it's hanging on my wall now.
So,
So
is this poster? Is it a theatrical poster, or is it advertising the video
I think
release?
it's the video release.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
like
because
on
it says
video cassette
Vidmark
by
on it and
Primark.
stuff. Yeah. But it
Yeah.
says Vidmark, yeah. So but I was just like, holy shit. Like that's amazing. So then it became this like, number one teenage Bonnie and Klepto Clyde lover. And then it became like we really have to find this VHS. And then within like a month, like I got a clamshell one that was originally from some like Midwest video store, but it's like where they cut the box and they slip it into like the
Yeah,
slip
yeah,
cover.
yeah.
And I'm like, this isn't quite what I want. Like I appreciate it, but like that's not, I want the box. And
It's a
then with
placeholder for a future
and
collectible.
and then within 1 week, a friend of mine was like, you will never guess what is at Be Kind Rewind in Burbank behind the counter. And of course it was there. And also the same friend was like, I also bought you a copy. so
Oh,
so I now
that's
I
a good
have
friend.
now I have like a surplus of VHS versions. But I want to be like that guy, that Titanic guy who has like 2,500
Oh,
Titanic
it's in the
VHSs.
tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to be that guy. So any listeners, if you happen across one, grab it and tell me. Don't pay more than a few bucks for it. So
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, that's my origin story. And then rewatching it for this, I realized like, wow, a lot of this like did like stick in my brain in weird ways that like I didn't realize it was from this. So let's talk about the movie.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
talk about
Let's
the
jump
movie
into
itself.
it.
That's our origin stories. But let's talk about the meat of the movie. So let's talk about the soundtrack.
Yes, I have
You
a
and I
lot of
had a
thoughts
lot to
about the
say.
soundtrack.
We had a lot of thoughts in our text exchange about this. We happened to be watching at the same time last week, and I thought that was very funny when we were texting each other. But the soundtrack, you made a great point that it sounds like they had ideas for songs and they put these placeholder songs and like maybe to be like, let's see if we can get the rights to
Yeah,
American
like a
Girl.
temp track,
Yeah.
basically.
And then that's just what it stayed. So
Yeah, for those who haven't watched the movie yet or don't remember, the soundtrack is littered with sound-alike songs. So there's a credited composer, and he's worked on the majority of these sound-alike songs. Like if you read the credits, it's the same. It's the composer, in those credits. And the first one obviously is what opens the film, "Booty Booty," which is a ripoff of Sam the Sham's "Wooly
Wooly
Bully."
Bully.
One of the major cues after that is a sound-alike version of Tom Petty's "American Girl." And then on rewatch, yeah, I rewatched Teenage Bonnie again yesterday to prep for this. And I realized in the middle, the Jump in the Fire song with the female vocalist, that is basically their version of Pretenders' Middle of the Road.
Yes, it sounds just like Middle of the Road. And
Yeah.
I rewatched it again last night and I picked up on that too. I was like, "Oh, I didn't even notice that." Like at
Yeah.
first. It is like beat for beat with
Yeah, yeah,
just
even
different
like, well, it's
lyrics.
the harmonica is what gives it away. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, they're trying to do the harmonica plus female vocalist. Um, and then there's some other things. There's like a little bit of like generic party metal from the 90s. There's the end credits song, which is kind of like the ballad, which is a little,
Across the Line
yeah, it's a
is what
little
it's called.
I would say it's a little Tori Amosy. Maybe there's a better, analog, but yeah, definitely for me, I was like, this sounds like they wanted more. If this movie had more money, they would have had a better needle drop soundtrack. Or they just didn't hire a composer that was gonna do their own. Like he just scribbled in the box, of
Right.
like,
Right.
we need this to sound like what is on the temp track. But
Uh
then, I
Across
think
the Line is by Vicky McClure. When I looked up Teenage Bonnie and Klepto Clyde soundtrack, I found some insane Facebook post from 4 years ago where someone's like talking about like losing their custody of their kid, and they're like, I was a whistleblower and I listened to this song a lot during that time. And I'm like, that's weird. That's a weird song to listen to
yeah,
when you're fighting for custody. But like that's a weird thing to say in this film group. But it's, I was like, oh yeah, like there's like a YouTube video for like the song, It's not a bad song.
yeah. When you
Also,
YouTube search Teenage Bonnie and Klepto Clyde, besides the movie,
yes,
you get
available
the
to watch on the
trailer,
movie.
you
Yeah.
get and then you get the music videos for or Cross the Line, and
Yeah.
or at
Yeah.
least someone ripping the song off the soundtrack and putting it on a YouTube
It's
upload.
like a nice little 90s jam. It is very like, why can't Tori read like
Yeah,
forward? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So,
like pre piano ballad, Tori Amos, like when she's trying to be a metal vixen.
right, right, which I actually loved, but it's funny too because these songs just repeat. So that like Booty Booty song, which like took me a good 10 minutes to realize was not Wooly Bully. I was like, is this because I'm not like listening to Wooly Bully all the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not like jamming to Wooly Bully. So I'm listening to it. I'm like, this is not the song I thought it was. And I'm like rocking out to it. I'm like, that's not great. But it like keeps going. Like they're like, we only have
I think it's at
room for
least
four
three
songs.
times in the film it
Yes.
recurs. Yeah, it's kind of like their ballad, not
Yeah.
or like their theme song in a way.
Yeah. It's like their like through line for some reason. So,
And
but
even that song, like if it feels like if you're ripping off Wooly Bully, it even feels like that they just did scratch lyrics. Like if you listen to the lyrics he puts on it, it's like he's just doing consonants and phrases that sound like Wooly Bully. Like
yeah.
it makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah. He's
It's a
not saying
truly
real stuff.
bizarre like
It's like, gotta get your
replication of it.
booty now. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
So I mean, perhaps an overview of the movie. Clearly, it's a ripoff of Teenage Bonnie, I mean, of Bonnie and Clyde. It's, there is Bonnie, and she is the daughter of the police commissioner who is often under fire for using excessive force. The mayor's yelling at him at one point. For like shooting a shoplifter. And, she's kind of the rebel. Her mother has died of suicide. Um, and it's just her and her dad, and she's hanging out with the bad crowd. She goes to Catholic school. She's just kind of your
he smokes
typical,
and wears a leather jacket.
yeah, she's your typical, like rebellious teen girl, which I definitely understand. And then it's funny because you don't get a lot of Clyde except the fact that his dad is gone. He hasn't seen him since he was little. His mother is like a non-entity in this movie, which is odd to me. And he
She's not
works
even a
at,
character.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
there's
works
no
at,
actress.
there's nothing.
She's
Sh-
referred to and not seen.
And she's referred to at the very beginning. He's like, she kind of like lets me do my own thing.
Yeah,
And I guess that's just their way of getting around the fact that they didn't hire an actress to be his mother. But like once they go on their crime spree, I'm kind of like, does his mom not have an opinion on this? Like I feel like we get a lot of the dad, but not anything at all, besides that one throwaway line about the mom. And he just works at a place called Bandit Burger. And he is clearly a kleptomaniac. His room is filled with really cool movie posters.
He has
Like,
the coolest room. Like,
yeah,
yeah, like I
he's got
was,
like he's got like beakers from like chemistry class, and a demonic toys poster, and a homicide like life on the streets
I
poster.
noticed, I clocked the people under the stairs poster
Yes, yep.
is in there.
Yeah, and
So
then there's
he's a man of good taste.
yeah,
He likes cool movies.
there's also like bikini car wash school 4 or something. Like I forget what it is. I looked it up. I did look it up.
Yeah.
But I don't remember. I didn't write it down. That's okay. And like they just have this sort of meet cute where she's at the burger place with her shitty boyfriend and their friends in a very filmed like Clerks for a little bit. Like they're banging on the door trying to get in and they're running around, and it just reminded me a lot of Clerks. And he's like, "Oh, we're destined to be together because you're bad and I'm bad and our names are Bonnie and Clyde." And then they kind of just go on these like at first petty crime adventures, and then it escalates when the dad's like, "No daughter of mine." And then they turn to a life of more serious crime.
But I do like at first that she's with Kirk, this deadbeat
Yeah.
rocker guy, and that she doesn't like Clyde. Like their initial meetings is not like one of instant attraction. It like they have to build to it.
Yeah.
They have to melt the ice.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, he steals a Zippo at the very beginning, and then she's like, "I have a cigarette," and he's like, "Here's my Zippo," and then she steals the Zippo. So it's like, but like, yeah, at first she's like, "Get away from me, you terminable dork. I don't want you near me at all." And he has to kind of get into her graces,
Yeah.
um, by talking about like fate and stalking her at school. Just like skip school to follow her. Um, makes a good the dynamic with Bonnie and her dad is interesting to me because it reminded me a lot of Heather's. Um, I think it's Heather's where Christian Slater's dad, he's not a cop. I think he's like some sort of real estate person or something. And like he's like, "Oh yeah, like we blew up this building and like these shit sucking nuns in court like had but like his bit is that his mother also killed herself. Like she went into one of the buildings. He must be some sort of like developer
Oh,
or
he was like a
something. Yeah,
demolition
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And went into one of the buildings that he like exploded. And the story with Bonnie's mother is that she uh you know had things to say about the dad. I assume he was abusive. He was a cop.
Well,
So
it seems like
that
he's
tracks.
the point of the movie is that he's a control freak.
Yeah.
He has to control everything, and so an
Yeah, and
unruly
he's
teenage daughter doesn't fit the bill.
yeah, and he's like, "You embarrassed me," and it's like less like, "Hey, what's going on with you?" and more like, "The mayor saw you at the restaurant." Um, and so she's obviously traumatized because it's just her and her shitty cop dad who sucks, and her mom has left her. And it just like reminded me a lot of Heather's for some reason.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe they were kind of taking a little cue from that of
yeah, the dead mom, the shitty dad. Though I mean, tale as old as time, I think. So,
yeah.
um, this is a movie. Okay, let's talk about the minutia here. This is one of 3 movies I can think of where there's a restaurant called Shenanigans. So, so this
So
is
name
like
the other two.
okay. So this is just to set it up in the movie. Clyde pretends to be a valet like driver and goes to park someone's car at a restaurant called Shenanigans. They steal the car, then they go on this little crime spree and get like nice clothes, and they go out to a different restaurant for what Michael and I are going to recreate soon, lobster and champagne. But the original restaurant they steal the car from is Shenanigans. And I don't know, I did not take the extra step to see if Shenanigans is a real restaurant. But
I imagine it is.
in
I can't imagine they have the budget to redress a building and
right,
name it something else. Because
but Super Troopers, he goes, "What's that restaurant with all the shit on the walls that you like?" "Oh,
mm-hmm.
Shenanigans." Okay. And then in Waiting, the Ryan Reynolds movie,
Yeah.
that I a huge fan of, they work at Shenanigans. And they do
I
the little eat at Shenanigans, enjoy your food.
It sounds like a made up, what you would like make up a Hollywood name for a Bennigan's type of restaurant.
Yeah, because it reminds me of Bennigan's. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is also, dead to the world now. There's no more Bennigan's, but
I'm looking it up in real time. We're gonna find out if that's a
all
real
right.
restaurant.
I imagine if anything, maybe it's a regional chain. Like maybe there was a few in Utah, and that's how it, came to. All right.
There is a Shenanigans in Long Beach. Road trip, Michael.
That's where we're gonna have the wrap party. We're gonna see if they serve lobster and champagne at
It
Shenanigans.
is an Irish pub, but we'll see.
Oh, okay. So
But
I
like
think
I
that's a
don't
different type of Shenanigans. I don't
yeah,
think
I
it's.
don't think Shenanigans is like a is some sort of like chain restaurant. Like I don't think that there are places called Shenanigans. There's one in Pittsburgh. Uh,
Okay.
but I don't think it's like a restaurant the way like in these movies it's a restaurant. But I just think
Yeah.
it's funny that like I was like, oh, I could make a letterbox list.
There you
Three
go. Make a
movies
tag.
in which there is a restaurant called Shenanigans. So, um, now the restaurant scene where they steal, where they eat the lobster and the champagne, they're all dressed up, and and to get out of paying the bill, Clyde has a cockroach and he puts it, the old cockroach. Oh my God, I ate so
Gregor
much of this food.
Samsa. He names it
Right.
Gregor Samsa.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah, which
literary type.
I loved that as an ex-English major and
Yeah, I picked
MFA
up on that
holder.
immediately. Yeah.
But that scene, this is one of the scenes that I was talking about where it imprinted on me and like I remember it without thinking about it. Because the way the waiter's like, I'm sure I could take care of this. There's no need to make a big deal. And he does this like hand thing. I'm like, oh my God, I think about that all the time. This specific exchange. And I just never realized it was from this movie. So I don't know why I keep saying show. It's clearly too early for me, being 10:44 in the morning.
Well,
I keep
I
saying
mean, I
show.
think that's a regional thing. Don't some people just call movies shows? So I think, I
Yeah,
think you're fine.
probably. Must be like a Boston thing.
But yeah,
Um,
that restaurant scene, it's, in our text exchange we talked about how it's the heart of their love story. That's
yeah,
where it all turns. Like they go
yeah.
for where it really begins on them like in love committing crimes. It starts with that lobster and champagne dine and dash.
As so many romances often do.
Mm-hmm.
I do like it too because at first she thinks he's a huge dork. She doesn't want anything to do with him. And then when he brings her to his house, she goes to like make out with him and he's like, I don't think so. And it's very funny their dynamic because at first, if anyone has never seen the original Bonnie and Clyde, um, with Jessica Lange and fucking that
Faye
guy.
Dunaway.
Oh, Faye Dunaway, yeah. Sorry, with Faye Dunaway, and that guy that looks like John Mulaney.
Warren Beatty.
Yeah. I wanted to see. Uh, but you know, uh, Clyde is impotent. Like that's a
Hmm.
huge driver of that story is that like they have this wild like sort of romance, but there's no real romance because he's like by and large impotent.
Yeah, the
So I
bank
was
robbing takes the place of
yeah,
sexual
that's their
intercourse.
sex, yeah.
Yeah.
But so I was like, oh, I forgot. Do they like make Clyde impotent in this too? But no, he was just like, no, the timing's not right. So so after this lobster and champagne, they consummate their relationship. They use protection, very important. Though I do like when when the cops find the car, they're like, a rubber, whatever. I'm like, why are they so like they're so anti like condom for some reason. It's very funny. Um, I do feel like they did all the dad and cop scenes in one day.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And well, we need to pause and talk about who one of the cops is, and that is Don Novello, who is best known to all of us as Father Guido Sarducci from Saturday Night Live, who I want to say it wasn't until like a few years ago where I didn't even know that was not his real name. That Father Guido Sarducci is a character, not a person. But yeah, it's the actor Don Novello, and he plays the kind of wry cop, the kind of the counterpoint to to the cop dad of being maybe a little more cool, a little more hip, a little more understanding of what may be going on here between Bonnie and Clyde. And as I said before, he in this movie he looks like Frank Zappa.
I genuinely thought he was Tom Savini at first.
Yeah, he's got the stash, he's got the long hair, he's got doing the street clothes thing. So he doesn't look like Father Guido Sarducci, and he doesn't he talks a little like him, but yeah,
He's
and he's
gruff. He's
yeah,
like,
yeah, he's
I,
rough, but he's good in this. Like
I think he's
again,
good.
it's another career path that didn't really get followed up on. Like he didn't get cop roles after this, or he didn't show up on Homicide: Life on the Street as a surly crime inspector or anything like that. But
What a
he
good
could
show
have.
that was.
What's that?
I loved Homicide: Life on the Street. That was a
Oh
great
yeah,
show.
yeah, yeah,
Just an aside. That show rules.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was in Jack with Robin Williams, 1996.
But was he playing a cop?
I have no idea. I'm
No, I
just
don't know.
looking.
Yeah, it's been.
I
I've
did
never seen
not see
Jack.
that. I don't think I've ever seen it.
No.
I do love this one quick the condom thing where he's like, okay, but then also like when they're in Klepto Clyde's room and he's like, oh, a Rubik's Cube. Like he gets so excited about the Rubik's Cube and like starts playing with it. I'm like, that's so funny.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know
Like
why.
he gets some fun bits here and there, and he gets to be in a shootout. Like you get to see Don Novello shooting it up with Kirk.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's fun. Also, again, I think they filmed all those scenes in one day. There's like three separate scenes of him coming into the dad's like police
Office,
office,
yeah,
and he's like, Sarge, oh no, sorry, Commish, uh, here's some information. And it's like they definitely were just like, okay, go back in the hall, come back and we're like they're wearing the same
yeah.
clothes. I'm just like, okay, they just filmed all of this in one fell swoop. That's fun. I think that's very funny.
Well, what you do on a low budget
Oh
production,
yeah,
I'm sure.
absolutely. I get it. Uh, they go on the run. They steal the dad's guns because he's like, you won't see that boy anymore because he's so concerned that the mayor saw them at the restaurant doing the whole lobster thing. Um, and they steal like he's got like a Tommy gun. It's so funny. Like and they go on the run here. Their first big hit is a payday loan place with like 6% interest or something. And I like that because it's like who robs the robbers, right? And
Yeah,
like
yeah. I think that was a good point of the movie is it's slyly making the objects of their robberies people you'd want to see stolen from. So yeah, there's
yeah.
the check catching place, which is like swindling an old lady when
They give
they.
the old lady her money like
Yeah,
from
yeah,
their
yeah.
staff, and then he's like, and buy yourself something nice. And he gives her like an extra 100. I thought that was very
Yeah,
cute.
so that's a fun echo of the original Bonnie and Clyde of
Yeah,
them stealing from corrupt banks and things like that. And
right.
then the second hit is the liquor store where immediately prior to Bonnie and Clyde going to steal it, he was selling booze to underage kids and charging them $10 to.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I forgot my ID in the bar. And he's like, well, then that's 10 extra dollars.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like that guy kind of sucks. He kind of
Yeah,
deserved it. So
yeah.
I like that in the so that was a good touch, I think.
They rope like her ex-boyfriend who's like in the hotel room with two other floozies like into being their getaway driver, and he sucks too. And it's so funny because it's like, he sucks, you dated him, so why are you like, you'll be our getaway driver? He immediately like fucks up and he's like, oh, the cops are here, I'm gonna run out with a gun. Like, just stay in the hotel room, they don't know you're there.
Yeah,
He
yeah. He like
sucks.
immediately goes homicidal slash suicidal like in that moment.
Such a tough guy until everything was on the line and then he
Yeah.
fucked up. But um they
And he's
go,
also the reason why they end up shooting the liquor store clerk.
yeah, because he's trying to get it, like he starts revving the engine. He's like, oh fuck, they have guns. I gotta get out of here, which like I guess I kind of get, but also like Bonnie runs out like, wait, 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 and then
He
chaos
causes the
ensues
chaos
because of it. Yeah.
that
Instead
culminates
of
in that.
just letting them rip off the fucking liquor store, like just give them a few minutes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But now some dude's dead because of you, whatever. Um,
And the guy who played Kirk is or is it Bentley Mitchum? I think
let
is
me
his name.
see. I'm looking.
But he's good at playing an asshole. Like it's you
Bentley
love.
Mitchum.
Yeah. And I don't know if he's related to the Mitchums, but I'm sure
Uh,
you'll be.
his parents are Christopher and Cindy Mitchum.
Yeah, Chris Mitchum is Robert Mitchum's son, so he's a grandson of
Oh, I didn't
Robert
realize
Mitchum.
that.
Yeah. But
Well,
he's good at playing a jerk, playing an asshole.
he
Like,
was in
credit
Man
to
on the
that.
Moon, the 1991 Reese Witherspoon movie.
Yeah,
That
that one,
he's
not the Andy Kaufman biopic.
no. Uh, and that's here's something. Here's something.
Hmm.
He was in Demonic Toys.
Oh, well, there you go.
I
So he
love
had a nice
that.
little career.
Yeah, but Clyde has a Demonic Toys poster in his room.
Ah, so that's maybe where you got it.
Little meta moment for us all. Um, uh, Man on the Moon, the Andy Kaufman one, is something I could talk about a lot because I loved that movie when it came out, and now reappraising it, I'm like, I hate this.
I could
Treacly
see that.
nonsense.
I could see that. So
Yeah.
let's save that for a future
Yeah,
episode.
that's a future thing, but I have a lot to say about it anyway. So like they're on the run and they're like, we'll do one last job and then we'll go to Mexico as children are wont to do. There's a very amazing moment where the cops bring in two people who are like not Bonnie and Clyde, and they claim to be. And the dad's like, yeah, and I'm Homer Simpson. And I'm like, oh, topical, because the Simpsons were so new back then.
Yeah, it was in its infancy,
Yeah, it was like
So
within the first few years. So it's just like, oh my God. Um, and the dad's like, oh, she's been kidnapped, she's been brainwashed. She doesn't want to believe that. She just wants to go on a crime spree, which sometimes girls just want that.
yeah, let women commit
Yeah.
crimes.
Women
Let's
can be anything,
Yeah.
including bank robbers.
And she's like in the driver's seat of this whole thing. She's the one,
She's
the
the one who steals the guns. She's the one who's like, we gotta go do big things. He's like, we gotta fill our destiny, but that could have been just like, stealing from the local Five Below or something. We
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
We have
And
no idea.
or even look on the poster. She's got the shotgun. She's the
Yeah.
one, she's right there, directing this whole thing.
I do love the bank robber scene, where they're like Bonnie's freaking out. She's yelling at the security camera. She's like, I'm not being brainwashed. I'm here of my own accord. And Clyde's like, I'd like to get a loan. My name's Tom. Tommy Gunn.
That's a fun moment. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they have like the recording, so everybody's down on the ground. And they're like, we should get them naked. But like they're gone, but like everybody
Yeah, it's
thinks
their
they're
way
still
of
there. Yeah.
covering that they're
Yeah.
still there. So
I thought that was really fun. That whole scene is really, really fun.
yeah. The payoff of that scene is the guy off the street coming in to do his deposit, and he walks in and just sees a
The
whole
little
bank
tape
full of
recorder.
people with paper bags with smiley faces
Yeah.
on in their head. So that's a fun scene.
It's fun. Like this movie is relatively fun pretty much all the way through.
And it's
Um,
relatively light. Like it
it's
doesn't
very
have
light.
yeah, it doesn't have the operatic heaviness of Natural Born Killers.
No, and that's so funny because I was just about to segue into the Natural Born Killer stuff. It
Yeah, let's get
even
into it.
has so like this predates Natural Born Killers. By I
At
don't
least
know.
a year.
I don't know when they started filming Natural Born Killers. I don't know. I did not go that far into looking into it, but this started filming in 92. So it's like we've got at least a year ahead of the game, right? And this has so many elements that like echo. Like, I mean, I guess the idea of like two star-crossed lovers who are like into bad things and are trying to like shoot their way through the world is not really necessarily a new concept. Again, Bonnie and Clyde is a pretty old movie, and that's
Or
probably
Breathless or
right.
yeah.
Any of that, like those are all, those all predate this by like a lot. But this has these elements in it that are so like they have the interviewing of the teacher and the students that like went to school and they're like, well, it looks like they're having fun. Well, why not shoot your way through? We don't even have a future anyway. Like all these little bits, and it just reminds me so much about like of Natural Born Killers when they're doing the whole press tour thing and they're interviewing people outside of the courthouse or whatever, and that guy's like, I mean, I don't think killing is right, but if I were a killer, I would be Mickey
Yeah,
Smoller.
it's
Like,
fun that they have the media cutaways. Like
yeah, it's
that's
very
something they share.
similar. And I was watching it and I was just like, this is so like Natural Born Killers coded. And I'm not saying like Natural Born Killers was like, we saw Teenage Bunny and Klepto Clyde and we need to add these elements in, but I just think it's just such a funny echoing. And if my memory is correct, and I recorded this after Natural Born Killers, that would make sense to me, like, oh, let's do a block of programming
Yeah,
where where these sorts of stories that echo each other are being run like in succession. I wonder if I could go into the archives and find like this like like the airing platform of like the schedule,
the
like
cable
what were the
broadcast. Yeah,
yeah.
go
I'd have
back in
to
the old TV guide listings and
I'd have
find it.
yeah, I know that they're there because my friend Mark is always like, I was looking at them for like some other thing, but I know that they exist. I wonder if I could find it. I'm gonna try to find it.
You
But
know
I just thought,
what else this movie shares with Natural Born Killers?
what's up?
It's the scene where the two lovers make out in the back seat while holding hostage the driver.
Yes, and I loved that. I loved
Yeah,
that scene. That guy was like,
yeah,
okay, this is my fate. That's fine.
and then leaving him on the side of the road
Yeah,
to continue their spree. I was like, this is it's like the demo tape of Natural Born Killers, but really for me, it feels like they're branches of the same tree of
yeah,
coming from obviously the original Bonnie and Clyde and Breathless and the whole genre. But yeah,
right.
I think they both share common inspiration.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean like it's not like a very original concept of like these kids feel like they don't have anything, so they can just take what they need. I think it's even like the world wasn't there, so they took it or so like I forget what the tagline is and it's in the other room. I don't feel like looking it up right now. So that's what you get. That's the hard-hitting stuff you're gonna get from this podcast. Me being exceptionally lazy about stuff.
Oh, that's
Uh
fine. We're gonna
yeah,
get roasted by
yeah.
people who are like, "Why didn't you mention this?" Or
Uh
how can
why
you do a
didn't
whole
you mention?
podcast about Teenage Bonnie and not know the tagline?
Yeah, I don't know. Because I'm fucking lazy. That's why. I'll look it up right now just to fucking appease them. But like I just thought that that was, I think that's fun. Like I was watching it, I'm like, oh, this reminds me. And if it were the other way around, I'd be like, oh, they kind of nabbed that from Natural Born Killers, but they didn't because this came
Yeah, this movie
first.
would make a lot more sense if it came out in '96, not '93. You know,
Absolutely. And
like,
I think in my head too, because I feel like I watched it around either eighth grade or ninth grade, which was 95 into 96. So like I just feel like, yeah, okay, here it is. I found it. All they wanted was the American dream, so they stole it.
that could be the tagline for Natural Born Killers.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. This is a great natural born killer, like dessert. Like you watch that and then you watch this.
Well, it's the classic B movie. It's the second feature.
Yes.
It's of modest aim and it succeeds in that regard of let's take a common uh popular thing and make a co-feature for it.
Exactly. Here's the thing. I think that a rep theater should let me screen this.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
have brought it up to our friend Jim, and he has ignored me greatly about it. But that's okay, because if I
But
were
poor
him,
Jim, his life out in the world in LA is getting besieged by people with suggestions.
yeah.
He's very polite about it, but you can tell, and I'm a good friend of Jim, and
Yeah,
I
same.
know, like, I don't hit him up with suggestions. I'm like, he's got it. He's my brother. He's got the knowledge in his head,
Oh
and
yeah.
if he can make it happen, he would make it happen.
I
But
think he should make this happen for
I'm
me
guessing that
as a
there's
favor.
probably not a lot of film elements around for this.
There will literally be two people at that screening, and it would be me. I don't even think Jim would stay. He would do the intro and then leave. He would introduce me where I would do the intro and he
It would
would
just be
leave.
the three of us in the Los Feliz three, and
Just
it
sitting
would.
there. No, I could get Dan Davis to come. So,
And I have been at void screenings where it's literally been me and Jim. That was the early years, but
yeah.
there were years where certain things filmed, screened, and it was there was nobody there.
For those listening who do not know Jim or Cinematic Void, it is a weekly screening through the American Cinematheque hosted by Jim Branscombe, where he plays sort of movies that aren't too far off the beaten path from this. He plays some big, big name movies as well, but this is where you would see a movie such as Bloodletting, which I did see. Uh, Not a great movie. It is one I want to talk about at some point. Uh, but so I am always sort of like, hey, what about elves? Just let me intro
I
elves.
I think there's no elements for it, and so you not to go too far into the weeds here, but when you're programming for a rep audience in LA, film is king.
Yes.
Like you get more roasted over showing a DCP if there's a film print available somewhere. So I think you get into that whole if you can't show it on film, it's a lot harder of a sell.
What are the odds? I recently went to a screening at Vidiots in Eagle Rock, and it was After Dark, My Sweet. Great
Yeah,
movie. And the 35 millimeter they showed was Jason Patrick's own copy of it, which I think had never been shown before. And he was there. There was a Q&A. And it was the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen. Like it looked like,
pristine.
yeah, there wasn't a piece of dust on the thing. What if Scott Wolf or Maureen Flanagan have a 35 millimeter copy of this and they just give it to me? I think that would be fun.
I think we need to reach out to them, but also it kind of brings up the question in my mind of maybe one of the reasons why this doesn't have a big of a cult following beyond yourself and me is what do they feel about it at this point in time? Are they champions of it? Are they giving interviews about it? Mentioning this, because for Scott Wolf, this is his first starring role. Like,
Yes.
this was he segued from being a guest star on sitcoms to a leading role in this, and then Party of Five. This has to hold some memory. Like maybe their experience is with this weren't that great, or maybe it's something that they unfortunately feel ashamed of at this point. Like especially with in regards to the nude scenes with Maureen Flanagan, or the amount of sexual content in the movie.
It's
Um,
pretty sexy. Like there, I mean,
it
especially
is.
for like someone who was like 13 or so when I watched it. I'm like, wow, all right. Like Kirk's there with like two ladies at one point. I'm like, there's like a lot happening
There's
here. It's not super graphic, but there's like quite a few sex scenes that are, kind of jarring for like what is clearly aimed at a younger audience. So
Yeah, it's like that weird scenario of like this movie was aimed at a PG-13 audience, but filmed with our content.
it was filmed with NC-17
Oh yeah,
content.
like yeah, as you mentioned, yeah, but that
Yeah.
was really more the violence at the end, I think.
Yes, yeah, and we'll
Yeah,
talk about that in a second. But here's the thing. I think I found the writers and director and I messaged them and I haven't heard back. But I was like, this is crazy. But are you by any chance like the Steve and the John of Teenage Bonnie and Klepto Clyde? And if you are, I need you to know that I am obsessed with this movie.
yeah,
But I haven't
and
heard
that it
back.
deserves a bigger audience.
Yeah, and they haven't seen it. But there is part of me that's like, should I try to reach out to Scott Wolf and Maureen Flanagan and be like, you have no idea. Like,
I think we have
you've
nothing to lose.
probably memory hold this, but like I have a poster of it that I look at every day. I think I will. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do
Yeah,
that.
I think we've got nothing to lose,
Why not?
and I think we live in this era of so many old movies getting rediscovered in via boutique Blu-ray releases and restorations and the like, that I would hope that at least a small part of them is touched, that people remember this, that people love this movie, that this wasn't a waste of 2 weeks of their life back in 1992 filming this, that it has some lasting appeal.
Well, here's the thing too. Like if I were an actor, I feel like I say here's the thing a lot. I feel like that's like the sixth time I've said. I remember once my brother was like, "Do you realize you always say in any event?" like when you're leaving a message or something, and I was like, well, no, but now that's
Oh, we
all I'm
all have
gonna
placeholder
ever think
words
about.
and
Yeah.
phrases.
But I
Yeah.
feel like I feel like I keep saying, here's the thing, and I'll be more
You
mindful of
know.
that.
You know.
And another thing. But if I were, and I'm not an actress, but if I were an actor or some sort of director or whatever, I would absolutely love if somebody was like, hey, you know what movie I loved? And it was just some fucking bullshit thing I made. Like, like I'm sure Scott Wolf, if he's like encountering people like Party of Five, because that was a big show.
It
Like
was
that was a
huge.
show that like it went on for a while and people like that was what they knew him from. And I'm sure Maureen Flanagan's like, oh, Out of This World. Like that was a very fun, popular show. But I am willing to bet the people who've brought this movie up to them are 0 to 5 in the last 20 years. And so like why not? Why not reach out to them and be like,
Other than maybe creeps
yeah,
who are,
remember that
obsessed with the
movie where you
nudity
showed
in
your
it.
boobs?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So I'm guessing that's a factor
yeah,
in,
I'm
but
gonna do it. I'm gonna reach
yeah,
out to them. Why
but
not?
I did want to have a little sidebar and talk
Yeah.
about that I don't think rights are an issue in regards to getting it released on a Blu-ray, because the YouTube upload we saw uh is from a screening on MGM HD, which is, their cable channel. And so there are, good elements out there. So I don't think it's a situation where there's, nobody knows who has the rights to it, or they can't find, a print, or a negative to strike a source. Like it was a nice letterboxed HD
Yeah, it looks
transfer.
good.
It
Yeah.
looks good. I also went an extra step, and I bought it on Fandango at home, just to see, the other, if someone's out there and you hear this podcast and they want to go see it, that's one of the options to see it. And it's a worse transfer than the one on YouTube. It's pan and scan,
Ugh.
like SD transfer. So like it looks like the old videotape transferred onto streaming. So I don't know why Fandango at now, which you pay money for, has a worse transfer than YouTube.
It's
But
just a
that's
YouTube rip. Yeah.
yeah,
Like
yeah. That's the world we live in. So watch it on YouTube, if you do have the interest in seeing it.
here is something that I hope for myself with doing this stupid podcast is that when it comes to these sorts of things like rights and like how that stuff works, I don't know anything about anything. So I'm like, why don't you just show elves? And then like, poor Jim has to be like, well,
Yeah, yeah.
and like, or like with Severin, I'm like, why don't you just do elves? And like from those conversations, I've learned about how like, well, there's just like nothing. Like like it's and it, like the right holders are
Yeah, no
like
one can find the
weird.
negative
And
on
they're
elves.
like the Severin dudes were like, the people who own it are like, we're gonna do something. Of course they don't. And it's just like really because they were like, we would love to get elves. That would be awesome. And I was like, I will do a novelization of it. Right. Like you call me if you get that. I will be insulted if I am not involved in that. And I feel the same about this, but it's like I don't know. I don't know distributing. I feel very much like Malibu Stacy a lot of the times. Like don't ask me, I'm just a girl. But like that is genuinely so I'm hoping like things like, oh, who owns the rights to this? And why isn't this a thing? Like
And
I'm
things
hoping to
change
learn.
all the time too. Like
Oh
all of a
yeah.
sudden, a print gets discovered, or the rights change hands because the family owner died or whatever. So we could be talking about it right now, circa 2026, and then who knows, next year's Vinegar Syndrome may have figured it out and put it out.
If
Or
they do not contact me, I feel like I'd have a lawsuit of some sort on my hands.
well, this is why we're starting this podcast, right?
Yeah.
We're staking the claim
Yeah,
out in the
right
world.
here, right now, the 4th of June, 11/11. Well, it's my computer's a work computer and it's like permanently set 5 minutes into the future. 11:03 a.m. I'm stating for the record that if a boutique label gets this movie, Teenage Bonnie and Klepto Clyde, and does not involve me in some way, there is going to be hell to pay. I see these guys at conventions all the
But
time.
you'd still buy it.
Oh, of course I would.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
buy
yeah,
like
yeah.
two of them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's one of those things where it would be my Christmas gift to my friends that year. I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah. Everyone's getting a teenage Bonnie.
yeah. Like when back in the day when Vinegar Syndrome first put out Raw Force, which is, an absolute top tier movie for me. That Christmas, all of my friends got copies of Raw Force, whether they wanted it or not.
And in the future too, I think it will be interesting to talk about movies that are genuinely like not great movies, but have these sort of like boutique label $70 releases like Garbage Pail Kids. Like Garbage Pail Kids is
Yeah,
objectively a terrible movie. I
yeah,
love it. I definitely own that release. But uh I do have a lot to say about maybe like it's nice that these types of movies get this like second life and people are like, "Oh my God, I love that movie," even though it kind of sucks. Like, but there's also something to be said about like, well, now it's like you're charging $70 for Garbage Pail Kids. Like, you know what I
or
mean? So it's like,
you're selling it on the nostalgia factor.
yes, and
Like,
and I have a lot to say about that kind of stuff, but I would like to see this, uh, just because Garbage Pail Kids, something like that, was an infamous cult movie, right? Like we all know that it's like it came out and people were like, "What the fuck is this?" And and there was a sort of like, well, I like it, but like then you're finding other people who like it. Teenage Bonnie and Klepto Clyde is different in the sense that it's not even a cult movie. It's a movie that exists that I have found very few people remember.
yeah, it's like we have to remind people it exists.
Yeah. And I would like to see it get some sort of nice treatment uh just to be like this exists and I remember it
Yeah,
and
in the spectrum of cult films, it's unjustifiably obscure, and
yes,
it's a gem. It's
it's
genuinely a
great.
gem. Like, it's charming.
It's charming and
It's
it's
sincere.
shocking.
Yeah, it's shocking. So yeah, let's
Let's
talk
talk
about the
about the
ending.
ending.
Yes.
Which is like undone again by another candy bar. It's like very the chase. Like things are going awry because of like a 100 grand bar or something.
Also,
But
there's a theme of in this movie of Scott Wolf not using his pockets. He
yeah,
stashes things in his belt line,
yeah.
which is, I guess maybe a reason to show off his midriff. But
I'm gonna put it out there. He's hot in this movie.
yeah,
He's
he's
hot in a very
charming.
dorky way. And I mean she's hot. Like that's fine.
Like, you
Uh
want to take him home and take care of him,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. There's something about him. He's like hot, but in like a like a
Like a
like
damaged, wounded kind of
yeah,
way.
like, oh, why do you steal? Let me make you some spaghetti and we can like talk about it. Like I just
Yeah, yeah,
feel very
yeah.
like matronly to him. Like but he's also very hot. And it's funny because like I don't think of Scott Wolf as like 90s sex symbol Scott Wolf. Like he like Party of Five is very much like a Seventh Heaven
Yeah, it's
adjacent.
a
It's not
family. Yeah,
religious in that sense, but it is like a very like family focused, like like it didn't get into too many like shocking things and when it did it was very sanitized. Like it was like a show you could watch with your parents and you weren't like horrified by it. uh I watched everything with my parents, so I was not. I mean, I watched Silence of the Lambs with them when I was like 8, so like I was not ever scandalized. I
your
watched
parents
Kids
sound amazing.
very famously. I watched Kids with my dad. Not a great time. Did not know what it was
Oof.
about. Did not say a word through the whole movie. And then at the end, he was like, "Can people do all that stuff on skateboards?" And I was like, "Yeah." And that was all we've ever said about it. We just
He just
pretended
had to
it.
change the subject,
Yeah.
and yeah, like, to acknowledge that you had seen it. But
One of
for
my
me,
favorite,
for
Colleen Lores. I watched Kids with my dad. Not
that's
great.
amazing. My equivalent is taking going with my dad and my sister to see Vanilla Sky.
Oh no.
And there's the scene where Cameron Diaz talks about filleting
Yeah.
Tom Cruise,
Yeah.
and yeah, that was an awkward ride home after that.
That reminds me, my cousin went to see A History of Violence with my aunt.
Ooh,
That's
that staircase sequence
yes,
is
yeah, that
something.
was that was he was like, "Ah, I've made a mistake." I think it was like Mother's Day or something, or like her birth. It was like for like they were like, "Let's go to the movies for your birthday," or like whatever.
Yeah, Vanilla
Not great.
Sky was a Christmas release, so that was
Yeah,
like we
that's
had our
Christmas.
Christmas and I had our Christmas dinner, and we're like, let's go to the movie. It's a new Tom Cruise is
Ooh,
out.
it's probably action packed.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
love Vanilla Sky,
yeah,
but
it's great.
it's a great movie, but it's just, yeah, it's it was a Christmas surprise.
Yeah. But so just to set it up for people who haven't seen it or maybe haven't forgot, what happens is they're like 1,500 feet from Mexico, right? And they're like, we're gonna stop for a breakfast. And this is so funny because she's like,
Because they want
no,
American
they
breakfast.
want an American breakfast. She's like, I want bacon, I want scrambled eggs, I want toast, I want coffee. And then in the end, they don't order any of that. They just get coffee. And I'm like, what happened to the bacon? But I
I
had
think the
written,
movie didn't have a craft service
yeah,
budget.
probably not.
Yeah.
And I had written in my notes the deadliest meal of all, breakfast, right? So they go and there's this like, and they're super normal. They're just they're not, and nothing is amiss. And they're like, yeah, we want some coffee. But Bonnie has a little gun in her purse and the waitress sees it and is like, hey, that might be those kids that are like everybody's looking for. And you better call the cops. Now, things get hazy for me, and I've watched it a few times now, but anyway, uh, they're like, here's more coffee, and like hiding behind the counter, and it's like they never get their food, whatever. And then they go to pay. And Clyde's like, I don't know, they're gone. So he like leaves 100 or something. And he takes like what I believe is 100 grand bar, which are really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Those
And
are
he
those are the top
puts
tier.
it in the waist of his up thing. The Bonnie's dad and them, they're like, they were spotted. They're like 10 miles away or whatever. So they're like rushing. What ends up showing up before them is what I can only describe as a small town militia.
Yes.
I
I
don't,
It's a
I,
cop and his buddies.
yeah,
So
I
it seems
don't get
like
it.
the cop, they obviously they call the police. The small town sheriff guy is the first one to respond. And I don't know if the militia guys were already there, like because they look like other like truck
They're
drivers
very
and
yokelly. No
yeah,
offense
yeah,
to
very
any yokels listening, but they're very like border of like, 1,500 yards from Mexico, white yokels.
yeah, yeah, the hillbilly type
Yeah.
maybe, and they're just like they all have guns and they're like, okay, well we're gonna,
We're gonna set up behind the gas pumps.
they all stand in a row with their guns out, and they're like, we're gonna apprehend these teenage crime spree kids,
Which
and
is super funny because like they're not even doing anything like first of all, they're not doing anything amiss. They're just like, okay, we're
having
gonna go.
breakfast.
But also, like, they don't even notice that there's like 40 people standing and aiming guns at them. They're just like, la 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 la. And so what ends up happening, and it's very shocking considering the rest of the content of the movie, is Clyde goes to take the candy bar out of his belt and they start shooting because they think he's reaching for a gun, or maybe they just want to shoot him because that's what it
Yeah,
seems like to me. And they fucking tear into these kids. They shoot them like 700 times.
the squib
It's
work is amazing
it's
there,
so good.
and you can see it's in a lot of the shots. It's not stunt doubles; it's actually
It's
Marine
them.
planning because you
Yeah.
can see their faces and they're reacting as three or four squibs go off in a single shot. Like,
Yeah, they're just getting like
so this movie
shot.
commits to the ending. It totally commits to the downer. Bonnie and Clyde get shot 400 times ending, and I think that's what sets this thing apart. Is
Yeah, that ending is just so and it's just so like it's gonna happen. And because if you know Bonnie and Clyde, you're just like, okay, yeah, that's gonna happen.
this
But
is where
like
this story ends? Yes.
but but like and you do kind of want them to get just like the chase, which I love.
Yeah.
You do want to get you do want them to get away with it. Like just go. And even the dad's like, I hope they get away with it because he's kind of come around with like
Yeah, he's let go.
he's
He
like, I'm
understands.
I'm a shit dad. My daughter is a mess. But at this point, like I hope her and that loser just because
Make
what's
it
the
to
alternative?
Mexico.
And of course, there's the irony of the dad being, "Oh, you're too violent with criminals. You were shooting so you can't shoot a shoplifter, right?"
Yeah,
At the beginning, and
it
then
comes
it's
full
just
circle.
it comes for full circle for him. He's lost his wife. Now his daughter has about 700 rounds of ammo in her gut. What's funny is the only little bit on Wikipedia for the reception is Entertainment Weekly gave the film a grade of C minus and said young leads Wolf and Flanagan as a police chief's daughter gone bad are surprisingly appealing, but whatever goodwill they earn is spent by the end when this pointless movie ineptly rips off the original Bonnie and Clyde's climactic massacre. And I don't agree with
It's
that.
not inept. It's
It's
yeah,
definitely not inept.
it's an homage. It's a tribute to it, and but yeah, they pull it off, and it, the poetic final shot of them holding hands in the throes of death, like that's magic. That's
Yeah.
poetry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Their story ends the way any crime story can end and maybe should end. They're a
yeah.
mess. Like, what are they going to do down in Mexico? They're going to shoot their way through Mexico? Like,
Yeah, I mean, you
that's
get
all
a
they
little
know.
sense of that maybe they're gonna turn the corner, like once they hit
They're like,
Mexico,
let's get married, and it's like kind of cute and
or
stuff.
like like Scott Wolf's character brings up the fact that the money's not gonna last. They're gonna
Yeah,
have another plan,
they're gonna have to
and you
go
get a sense
straight.
that maybe they might be on the path to figuring out like what their lives are going to be now, and they have a little bit of remorse for the crimes they committed because they talk about you know uh feeling bad over the people that got in their way and got
Yeah, like the
hurt,
liquor
and
store guy and
the liquor
stuff.
store
Like,
guy, and Kirk, obviously sacrificing himself. But yeah, it hits you in with that ending, and again to reference something going on with the American Cinematheque, but you could program this for Bleak Week. This could be a Bleak Week selection in regards to, especially if you're young to this type of film, you're not expecting that ending,
no, no,
and or
and
expect you're expecting like the rest of the tone of the movie has you believing that it's not going to end this way, and it does end that way.
yeah, yeah. It's so lighthearted, and even like their crimes are a little silly and lighthearted. So like getting to this point where they're just blasted to bits by this like hick police militia,
Like an
like
judicial police killing,
yeah.
basically. Yeah,
It's just so, I mean, it's not really out of nowhere, but it is sort of very jarring, and it's great. It also
yeah.
has something I love, another specific letterbox list of movies where blood pools into somebody's eye.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Oddity could be one of the, wait, not Oddity, I'm sorry. Well, a Cuckoo. Cuckoo could be one when Hunter Schafer's in that car accident.
Oh,
She's
yeah,
got like
true.
blood, and this, and maybe, I don't know, I'm sure there's more, but those are the two that come to mind.
I'm sure it's a tag on Letterbox. I'm sure
Yeah.
you could go in and
If it's
find it.
not, I can do it. Blood
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Eye.
Yeah,
Done.
so after this podcast, it's that and the Shenanigans. You
Oh
have to
yeah,
start
yeah.
those two.
Movies in which there is a restaurant called Shenanigans. So yeah, I
But
mean that's Teenage Bonnie and Klepto Clyde, plot wise and just I don't know. The movie meant something to me when I was young, and it still means something to me, clearly, because I would not have started this podcast with this movie otherwise.
and I
There's
think what makes you and I very similar, and it's a trait shared a lot with cinephiles, is finding an obscure movie, loving it, and then proselytizing it to other people, and sometimes feeling like you're the only person carrying the legacy of this movie forward. Where you talk to friends like, have you seen this? So even in where we live and are socializing in film Twitter LA, or film scene LA, where everybody talks obscure films and everybody's very well versed. It's like this is a piece of forgotten lore, and that unites people. Like you and I know about this movie, and there's other people out there, and hopefully they'll hear this podcast and reach out and connect with us
I
regarding
hope
this.
so. I
And
hope so.
yeah, that's
Because because again, like I don't even remember if like people I was friends with in high school remember this movie. I know I brought it up to my friend Andrea, and she was like, I don't remember that at all, which is, like Andrea and I have been best friends since the first day of freshman year. So she's been around, and she was like,
mm-hmm.
I don't remember that. And there's you. And I was so grateful when you remembered and I was so happy to be like, and I was talking to like, I'm a moderator on the Beyond Fest Discord with some mutual friends of ours, and I was
The
so
greatest people in the world.
excited. I was so excited to tell the other moderators. I was like, I'm recording with Michael, and everyone was like, oh, Michael fucking rules.
No, no, they weren't. Come
Yes, they
on.
absolutely were. I will show you a screenshot. Um, but I was just so happy to be like, okay, first episode, definitely want to do Teenage Bonnie and Klepto Clyde. Who can I ask? I know there is only one person to ask, and it is Michael Felix. And so, but like, I just hope that people check it out. Like, it's so accessible because it's on YouTube. But like, when I even was just saying to the Severin guys, and none of them at that table were like, oh yeah, no, they were all like, I have never heard of that movie. And I was like, movies are like your whole thing because you're a boutique movie label.
I feel
So
like if
like,
this movie was made in Italy, then they would have known it.
yeah,
They would have already been working on a restoration of it and been scouring vaults in Italy for you know, source material. So
exactly.
I think it's maybe in an unpopular point of cinematic history right now, like early 90s direct to video or seemingly direct to video films. It's not the like shot on video era, which is very popular right now, or it's
Right.
not, a classic 80s slasher or anything like that. So I think it's just kind of fallen through the cracks in
Yes.
in regards of like cultural focus. Nobody's like, and again, maybe it's in somewhat due to the fact that, Maureen Flanagan, maybe not a household name nowadays. Scott Wolf, he's still a jobbing actor, but maybe not at the height of his.
Yeah, what's he been up to?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at his IMDb and he's still working. Like you'll see, I think he was on Hawaii Five O. The
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. So he's still out there doing stuff, but I think it's just nobody's heard of it. It skips the DVD era, and now it's just it's up to you and I to get people to pay attention.
Ooh, he was in a movie called A Merry Scottish Christmas.
Is that like a Hallmark? I'm
Must
guessing.
be.
Yeah, I'm.
You can't even like click on it on Wikipedia, but he is on a show called Doc, which I've never heard of. And he's directed a few things. That's fun.
Yeah, yeah. So he's still in
Yeah, he's
in the
out and
game.
about. Yeah, Maureen Flanagan. Let's see. I'm gonna click on her real quick and see. But I was very excited when she popped up on that ER episode. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, look, look.
When I was
Uh,
looking at the her IMDb and I saw she was on ER, I was like, oh, I bet Colleen will have seen that
yeah.
episode.
Oh my God, I'm on the dregs of ER right now.
The
Ugh.
later seasons.
Yeah, season 10. I'm like, this sucks. And I think so it will remain through the end. But I'm gonna,
It's like when you rewatch the X Files and then you get to like all the post Mulder stuff, and
like,
you're
ugh,
like, it's hard to
yeah.
finish this off.
X-Files is hard for me anyway because I'm not big on the overarching mystery, like conspiracy. Like I like the monsters of the day. I mean,
Oh,
monsters of the
yeah,
week.
that's why I watched it. I
Yeah, yeah. But when it's like whenever I think like, should I do an X-Files episode? I'm like, I don't fucking care about the smoking man though.
Yeah, yeah, it's like playing roulette, and half the time you end up with an episode about the mythology, and it's like,
Yeah, I'm like, I don't fucking care about this.
yeah,
Like, give me the fluke man
yeah,
or whatever.
exactly. Give me teenagers, finding UFO artifacts.
Yeah. Or oh my God, my ex-husband back before we were ever even married. So this is like over 20 years ago. I made him watch Home with me.
Oh, jeez.
And he is still fucking mad about it. Like he will be like, remember when you made me watch that fucked up X-Files episode? Like he said that to me like 3 months ago. I was like, buddy, that was like 20 years ago. But I mean, it is an upsetting episode. So when they pull her out from under the bed, she's like, ah, he was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's
I wonder if I'm gonna text him after this. I wonder if he remembers this. I feel like this would have came up at some point because
that you
this
would
was
have.
closer to that time period for me than like now is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like we were dating in like the very early 2000s, so I feel like this must have come up at some point. So, But anyway, okay, so do we have any final thoughts on Teenage Bonnie and Klepto Clyde? I will uh I haven't, so the only thing I've made for this podcast so far is an Instagram account. I
Yes.
do have a blog that I'm trying to revitalize. I'm very, very lazy about it. But and I'll probably write a little something about this movie on there, and I'll probably link. But I feel like I should throw at least the YouTube link up in the bio on the Instagram for now. And I will probably link it when this goes up on its various podcasting sites, which I'm hoping it will all be up by Monday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Great.
so I don't anticipate it being too difficult to like turn it around. But like any other thoughts besides this is an accessible movie. If you have an internet connection, you can watch it on YouTube. And it looks really good, so I suggest doing that. Um, but any last thoughts on Teenage Bonnie and Klepto Clyde, besides the fact that one, we need to go to Shenanigans in Long Beach, and two, perhaps splurge on a nicer fare at a restaurant that has champagne and lobster?
100%. Those will be happening. So that'll be future content for your blog. So people who are listening to this podcast now,
I
hopefully,
can see the pictures of me and you like a selfie, and it's like us with the lobster, like
yeah.
like
Well, and also owing to budget, it'll probably be lobster tacos
yeah,
and mimosas, but that's
yeah,
fine too.
that's okay. I am
But
from New England. I will eat any form of lobster there is. So
so sidebar on the lobster roll, which style do you prefer?
I like the mayonnaise.
Yeah,
That's it.
100%.
That's all
Cold,
you need.
cold with mayonnaise.
Cold
Yeah,
with mayonnaise. Yeah, yeah. I hate this shit where it's like, garlic aioli. No.
or the warm with butter. Like
Yeah,
no.
no. I mean, like, I do like a buttered, like the toasted buttered bun is fine, but
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
but no, no. And then people get real fucking weird with it, and I'm like, green onions. Go
Yeah,
fuck yourself.
it gets too complicated. But that'll be a blog for another day.
We'll
But
have some sidebar like restaurant blog podcast where we like
we have a lot of sidebars, which
lobster
is
chat with Michael and Colleen.
yeah. So my final thoughts on Teenage Bonnie and Klepto Clyde is just that Scott Wolf and Maureen Flanagan, you should be proud. You should be
Yeah.
proud of this. This is a movie that obviously touched a few people out there. Us weirdos. And it's good work. It's good. It's a gem. Like it's not. It's well shot. Like it's got a sense of fun. It's got a sense of charm. You buy the romance. It has the gut punch ending. It succeeds as a film. It should not be cast aside to obscurity just because it never got a DVD release or it's not, on Tubi or it's not on Netflix or whatever. Like, please go seek this out, and please, know that people love it, and we would love to hear your memories of making this
Absolutely.
film. Like, I want to know what it was like being in Salt Lake City filming this. Which, by the way, I want to say the first time I watched this, I thought they shot it in Glendale.
You know what? I thought it was shot around here too. I
There's
was
a lot
looking
of
at
it where
the
you're like, oh, that looks a little Burbanky
Yeah,
Glendale-ish. And then I
I
was
was
like, no,
looking at
it's
the
Salt Lake City.
storefronts and I'm like, do I recognize any of this? But no, apparently I
It was on
don't.
a
So
rewatch where I noticed all the Utah license plates. I was like, oh, all the cars are Utah or New Mexico or something.
if anyone is listening and wants to talk to us about this, you can email. I've set up an email for the podcast. It's fuck podcast, all one word, very easy to remember, at proton.me, because I'm trying to move away from Google
Oh, great.
due
Good,
to
yeah.
their
It,
AI shit. So don't talk to me about AI in the email because I will block you. But fuck podcast at proton.me. Please, I would love to hear anyone's thoughts on this movie. Scott Wolf, Maureen Flanagan, Steve Jankowski, John Shepard, if you're out there, check your messages because I have a message and I will be messaging Scott Wolf and Maureen Flanagan. But I would love to chat with, I would love an oral history of this. I will write the oral history.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, but otherwise, I think that's it for the first episode of For Unlawful Cinematic Knowledge. Thank you so much, Michael. Is there anything you want to like promote or blurb or?
The only thing worth following me on is my Letterboxd. I'm slowly creeping away from social media just
You're
because
very
of,
smart.
yeah, it's so I'm at Cinefelix, my last name Felix, Felix. So you can find me there. I think that's my same handle for Instagram, but
It
I
is, I
don't.
believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So find me there. I don't have anything else to promote. Or, if you're at Beyond Fest this year and you're buying a t-shirt, it's probably me behind the booth. So that's where you can meet me.
That's where I hang out with Michael the most, is behind the
Yes.
t-shirt booth. Right, and I am Kolleen Carney Hoepfner. You can follow me at Kolleen Carney on most social media, Kolleen B on Instagram. And as I said at the beginning of the episode, I did start an Instagram for this. It is the whole name because I didn't want to write fuck podcast because I was afraid like Instagram would think I was like
Yeah,
a sex worker. Not that I have anything against sex workers. I do not. I'm very pro sex worker, but Instagram has something against them, and I
yeah,
didn't
the
want to get.
algorithm would treat
Yeah.
you poorly.
I didn't want to get flagged immediately. So it's for unlawful cinematic knowledge, all one word. You will find it. There is a placeholder profile picture for now until I'm finished with which I think you might like the logo when it's done. So I will show you first.
Oh,
And
thank you.
and yeah, I think
Yes.
you'll appreciate it. But otherwise, thank you so much for listening to our maybe a little janky first episode. Hopefully Michael will be back to talk about something also exciting. Um,
It would be my pleasure.
literally anytime. So you
Anytime you
message
want me
me,
back. Yeah,
you
we
tell
will.
me what you want to talk about, we'll talk about it. So otherwise, thank you so much for listening. And the next episode should be either with Dan Davis about 2002's Horror, the Dante Tomaselli movie that again no one has ever seen,
Ooh,
or with Brodie Hubbard talking about the Hugga Bunch movie from 1984.
dang.
Yes.
That's going to be awesome.
Yes. So stick around and hopefully I will see you on those next episodes. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.
Bye.